We're different.
Now we're live. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Sports Crew podcast. As we are on our final episode of the semester, we're obviously going to talk a few MLB free agency stuff and Iona basketball stuff with my guest, Matt Martinez. What's going on, Matt?
What's up, Hobby?
How
Oof.
was the finals been for you? You done?
Oh, it's a
Or?
lot. No, I still got one more Monday, so
Monday.
that's the only reason I'm here right now. But it's a good way to get the show out, you know.
No, yeah, for sure. Because after this, we'll probably when we come back next semester, free agency should be done. It should be close to like kind of spring training. Basketball is going to be well into conference, and I know you have your internship, so we'll obviously figure that out when it comes to March, and I'll try to get other people on the show. But to start off, big news. Obviously, Carlos Rodon being the Yankees. What were your thoughts on that signing? Was it the right move? You think they should have focused more on offense? What was your mindset in that?
Yeah, no, it was pretty. It was pretty cool. I think it was late at night we got the announcement.
Yeah.
So I was eating, I think, and then my friend texted me Rondon. So I was like, oh, okay, let me I guess we got him or he signed somewhere. So I see, and then I was like, oh wow, that's a really good signing. I thought the contract was great, 6 years, 162, especially with the way pitchers were getting money right now. I thought that was a really good deal, really fair. It's only, I guess I saw the breakdown. It was like 22 million this year, and then it's 27 million every other year. It gives you the window too. It was a good contract because I think Cole also has 6 years left on his deal. So they're both going to go out at the same time. So you're never going to really need to hit that rebuild stage. They're both going to have them. Maybe towards the end, maybe you're rebuilding a little bit, but with the way pitchers are keeping up with their bodies, a lot of them are effectively throwing the ball into their late 30s now and 40s. So there's definitely going to be a good era of Yankees pitching coming up right now, I think.
Yeah, I think when I saw it, I was pretty happy because a lot of the free agent talks once the season ended was our pitching was good, we need offense, which I agree.
Yeah.
But when you look at the rotation, you always want kind of help on the front end because you look at people like and I've seen this all from Hot Stoves, Talking Yanks, the Yes Network, all of them saying that when you look at Nestor, how much more can he keep doing that? Especially towards the end, they said he was breaking down. So if you slot him one down, Severino's had injury history. Now, obviously, I know he's in his contract year, so you slot him one down like that. Rotation is amazing. And then Frankie Montas wasn't that great, but like you told me before that if he was healthy, maybe he'd be at least decent, maybe under a 4 ERA. Yeah. Not under a 2, but I mean not under a 3, but probably around a 3 something. So if you have him as your fifth starter, that's a huge upgrade because you look at our rotation in the past years. We had Cole, probably a little bit Nesta as your 2, and then Severino was hurt, so you'd have to do it. Herman, Monty. Sometimes we had Clark Smith, I know, at one point, and it wasn't as strong as it is now. So hopefully, when everyone plays well, it'll be great. But I definitely think that they need to go and get a bat because you need a left fielder, and I know they need roster spot. Like they need spots for roster because they have 43, I think, right now. Obviously, you got to get rid of probably 3 or a few more depending on what moves they make. So obviously, we'll quickly pivot to left field. You saw that Benintendi obviously went to the White Sox. What were your thoughts on that? And what do you think possibly could be a new left field option?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of funny because you go from the highs of, the Yankee fans are very mixed on Benintendi, but like you go from the highs, in my opinion, I went from the highs of getting Carlos Rondon and I'm like, okay, fine, I'm finally headed in that right direction. And then the next day you just get, I was working and all of a sudden I see the alert, Benintendi to White Sox 5-year deal. I saw the Yankees final offer, or the rumors, so the source of it was 4 years, 64 million. It was 16 million a year. For 1 million a year, or you either choose between 1 million extra or getting that extra year of money. Obviously he made the right choice taking that extra year. I don't know why the Yankees didn't go to the 5th year. I don't get it at all. They basically paid the same as DJ LeMahieu. He's a contact hitter, reinvented himself, good defense, and he's 28. Brian Reynolds is overrated as heck. I'm not even I don't want the Yankees to get him at all. I think he had, like I saw somebody said, he really only had one good year in 2021 that really gassed up his price and his market. And then you see right now, he's on the Pirates, really not producing at all. I get it. He's a switch hitter. He can play some solid defense, but you're also going to have him play left field. He's a center fielder right now. And then I'm not overly impressed to give up Peraza, Volpe, and all those top guys just to go get him. Like that doesn't impress me. Honestly, so like I was saying, though, the highs of Rondon, I don't think this team is very good still. Obviously the pitching's good, but we didn't lose to Houston because of pitching. We lost to Houston because we slumped and we couldn't hit the ball when it actually mattered. So what did we do? Oh, you're the guy that can hit good pitching. Let's let you go to Chicago right now and not pay you. So I think we're gonna. I hope we don't get that Max Kepler guy. If we do that, and we don't dump either Donaldson or IKF back there to get rid of money, then I think this is, I'm not very high on this team because it's the same team. Yeah, they'll go win 90 to 100 games probably and then lose in the playoffs again. That's just what the outlook looks right now.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on this left field. This is probably gonna be our longest segment. Because I have a lot to say about it. So with Benintendi, I think that I was looking, and it's funny, I was looking at this all this morning, all last night before I even sent you the question, and even after. Because I was like, I don't understand how we can improve on left field because, like you said, our biggest problem was our offense, right? Everyone knows that. Not even this year, but in the past years, it's rarely been our pitching.
At least for
the
last 2 seasons, offense has been a bigger issue than
yes. We're not going to include 2020 because obviously it was COVID. We weren't expecting nothing, and then 2019, like all that, it was always our hitting, right? So you want to get better hitting. Ever since the 2017 playoffs, all the way to now, the narrative was always we were too right-handed. We kept striking out. We were always a home run or nothing team, right? So we try to make small improvements. We got DJ LeMahieu. We got Rizzo to be a lefty. We added Benintendi to be a lefty contact bat. We got IKF, which obviously was a pretty solid contact bat. We started to try to change the narrative, but it just wasn't there yet, right? Obviously, by getting rid of Gary, Luke Voigt, and I feel that I can't remember who else, but we try to lessen the strikeouts and be a little bit lefty, a little bit contact, right? So I thought, okay, we're somewhat getting the right direction. Let's keep going. You look at even last year trade deadline. I had 2 people I told you. I said it was either Ian Happ or Benintendi. I don't want no one else because I want a lefty that can obviously hit for a pretty good average because I think average is more important than any other stat.
Yeah.
So we get Benintendi, he gets hurt, and then him leaving, it just made no sense to me. But after letting him marinate, I did hear a lot of reasons why it's not confirmed, but some speculations of why they would think that they didn't go the 5th year. So I guess the Yankees' plans is to try to get or try to go for Jason Dominguez to come up very soon, right? Obviously, some point next year. So they think if you get Benintendi for a few more years, is going to either prevent Jason Dominguez from, I don't want to say coming up, but it's going to make it complicated. But I was thinking of in terms of you have Harrison Bader for one more year. If he
he's a free agent. Yeah.
If he performs the way he did, if anything, you can try to figure out whether trading one of them. Because let's say if Benintendi, for some reason, I don't know, he re-signed and he hit 260, and then Jason Dominguez comes up and he hits almost like 280, 290, 300. And Bader's hitting 250, you could figure out who to trade from that. I'd rather trade and get pieces than just let someone walk.
Yeah.
Because then you have Benintendi to contact it, play gold glove defense, and stay there. And Bader, obviously, to do the same. And then when Jason Dominguez comes up, now you have the problem of too many outfielders. That's a good problem because then you could trade them. Instead of now we have to find someone to be a rental, someone like an IKF probably that they wanted to be a rental for Volpe. Like, why are we doing this? I'd rather not go for rentals. And because if the prospect doesn't pan out, it's fine. You look at Miguel Andujar, you look at Clint Frazier, and all these other prospects that we held on to, and then they didn't pan out. Judge was probably the only one, and maybe Gleyber Torres. So obviously, I'm not saying trade these prospects because you think they're not going to pan out, like a Volpe, like a Dominguez Peraza. I'm saying keep them. But if the free agent market is open, you sign them, and if all goes wrong, you trade the player. If the prospects go wrong, you have the player there. I'd rather go that route than go again. All I've been hearing about is Max Kepler, Michael Conforto, and I think it was 2 other players, one from the Diamondbacks and one from the Rays. I'm like, I look at all their averages. Why are we so in love with 220, 230 averages? I don't understand that. You go from a 300 hitter to 220 and you're happy about it. What's the logic?
I don't get the Yankee fans they're not the brightest right now, especially their Twitter. Their Twitter is run by a lot of like teenagers and younger kids that really don't know a game or know ball. They don't play. They just watch it on Twitter. A couple of them, the guy with like Nestor's mustache, I hate that guy. That guy. That's his account. I hate that guy. But like they're just getting very annoying right now because, like you said, they're going after like just bad players. Like Matt Kepler is not a good baseball player. No surprise, just like Gleyber Torres, the best year that he had. 2019. What happened then? Juiced baseballs. Like their best years are the years that things were inflated. So like it's getting a little annoying right now. I think if I had to choose the option at this point, I would want Michael Conforto because it'd be a 1-year deal. It would be cheap. You could cut him if it didn't work out, like a Jay Bruce situation. But he's proven in the past that he can at least hit hit for a little bit of a higher average than what these other guys would do. But I'm not really overly impressed with our options. I saw a tweet too.
Michael Brantley, I heard
When's
too. He plays
okay?
more
Wait.
defense.
If Michael Bradley's defense would be a huge liability, but if they were to do that, I would also want them to get him because he's not he's a 300. He's a good hitter for contact, and the defense would be a liability, especially with that big Yankee Stadium left field. But I would be very happy if that was the move that they would make. I don't care that much. I know defense is important, and I know everybody says pitching and defense win championships, blah blah blah. You know, they don't. You score runs to win the game.
Yeah.
You know. So look. Here's the thing. What did the Phillies have? Bad defense. They almost just won the World Series with bad defense. Like you know.
I just want to say one thing. And I know this is not gonna happen, but I would rather put the risk of Stanton getting injured at left field and putting Brantley at DH than putting Brantley at DH at left field, because I heard he's very terrible defensively. I'm not saying Stanton is the best defensive player, but he has an arm. That's it. So like he would just, you wouldn't run on him. Probably if you wouldn't go for a double if it falls in front of him, but it would be a single. Like he would get more singles than anything.
Yeah, the issue with Brandon's a little bit older now, but like I would love his bat in that lineup. I think that would just be something like really, really good to have. A 300 hitter could do a lot. Be that number 2 guy for us. You'd go DJ him, then Judge if you wanted to. I hate Judge in the 2 hole so much. I can't stand it. It's so annoying. The guy's a home run hitter, table setter. If you get him, well, not in the playoffs. He doesn't do that in the playoffs. But like if you have him, in the regular season batting behind 2 guys, and then he could get the 3-run home run, or he hits a single to bring in LeMahieu. If that happens, like I just don't like the way the Yankees are constructed. One of my friends calls me like a pessimistic every time I tell him, like after yesterday, I was like, see, we're done. Like we need hitting. We couldn't get hitting. Now we're gonna go after some bum that's gonna hit like maybe 20 home runs, but strike out 500 times. So it's getting frustrating with them. And another thing too is, when's the last time the Yankees? I saw this too. Besides Aaron Judge and maybe you could say Gary Sanchez, when's the last time the Yankees have, in the last 10 years, have developed a position player from their minor leagues?
Technically, you could. No,
Gleyber Torres was traded for.
Traded for. Yeah.
You can't say the last time a Yankee homegrown player has developed into a good hitter. We haven't.
No, yeah, I agree with you on that. And I want to throw one more thing before obviously we switch to the other topic. I know that, and it's funny, I've semi-spoke this about you, but I was really doing a lot of research today. So they were talking about that the Twins, they obviously lost Correa. They lost, who else was it they lost? I know that they've lost pieces, and I think they were trying to get Rendon, supposedly. They were trying to get him. They didn't get him. There's a lot of things that they wanted to do, and none of it got accomplished. So obviously they got to make trades in terms of their outfield, because they have too many outfielders now with Joey Gallo. But one of the persons that I heard a little bit, I'm not saying that he's gonna get traded, but
I know who you're
Luis Ariz, obviously. So I was looking at his numbers. I was looking at a lot of people's numbers this morning. I woke up, I think it was like 10 a.m. and I was so much research on numbers, and one of them was Luis Ariz, and I seen that he's been in the MLB for 4 seasons. He hasn't hit below 294 in all 4 seasons. He hit 300. I forgot what was the number, 3 something, 294, 3 something.
He was a batting champion, right? This
year? Yeah. He won batting champ, but he hit 303 out of the 4 seasons, and one of them was 294, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me see his positions, and
he plays a bunch.
He played first, second, third, right? And I'm like, oh, he's only played the infield, right? So then I go on another website and I look at every single game he's played in every position. He's actually played left field, I think it was 20 times or 22 times in 2021, 14 or 17 times in 2019, his rookie year. He's played, and then the 3 infield position, where first, second, and third. Never played shortstop, never played center field, never played right field. I was like, it's pretty interesting. So then I look at the defensive numbers. How many errors has he had in left field? And he's probably played, again, a total of 40 games, 0. He's had a couple errors in like third base, some in second, not many in first, but left field is the only one. I'm not saying he's a great defensive player, but I was like, the fact that he's played left field before in a lot of infield positions, and he's hit over 290 every season, why not try to go for him? Because for a few reasons. If you want, you can have him at left field just for 1 season, only 1. Because after this season, hopefully Dominguez by 2024, I'm not saying he's going to start off, but eventually by then you bring him up, you got your solution, right? If Rizzo ever hypothetically needs a day off, starts to decline, you could put him at first. Obviously, if DJ has a surgery and DJ's out, you could that now Luis Arraez could be your backup first baseman. If Gleyber Torres ever gets traded or something goes wrong with the prospect, whether it's Volpe or Peraza, he could go to second, right?
Yeah.
If Josh Donaldson somehow has, well, not somehow, if he has a slump again,
Yeah.
or he just gets cut to
when?
something, anything, he can go to third.
Yeah.
You have so many options now with Luis Arraez where you can kind of treat him like a Cabrera, but have him more at left field just in case for now.
Yeah.
So I think it's a perfect option. So I look, how can we get him? And a lot of the reports are saying they want a top end pitcher. Now, I don't think I'm giving up someone like a Nestor or Sevy. I'd probably try, and I was looking at the MLB trade, maybe like a Clark Smith for sure, maybe a Luis Hill, a Devi Garcia, and then a few other players. So obviously you can make roster spot too, whether it's a Everson Pereira outfielder, you want to throw in someone else, IKF, or whoever, fine. You can somehow hopefully figure that out. That to me is the only way that the Yankees could go from downgrading for Benintendi to an upgrade. Every other option to me is a downgrade because Ian Happ, if you somehow got him, it's kind of funny that we said we should have got him last year or Benny, either or. If you got Ian Happ instead of Benny, you wouldn't have to worry about this. We'd have him for an extra year because he's a free agent after this season.
Yeah.
That's one. Brian Reynolds, like you said, 2019 juice balls. 2020, he played, I think it was bad. 2021, pretty good. This year, 262. Yeah. So Brian Reynolds would be an option, but you're giving up too much for him. I don't want to give up too much for him because why am I giving up Jason Dominguez or Volpe or Peraza for someone I don't want?
I don't view him as the superstar that's going to take us to the next level. Some Yankee fans do, but
Even Michael Kay said that. He said, "What's the big?" I saw the segment. What's the big move that they were talking about that's not Rendon? And then I think his name is Pete. No, not Pete. The one next to him,
Don LaGreca.
Don, yeah. He was like, Reno wouldn't move the thread, so it wouldn't be him. I mean, I'm not saying you're getting Shohei, but that would be the only person I could think of that would move the needle if hypothetically you're talking about him. But who else? And obviously, I think Luis Arraez would be better because, again, he hits way more contact. He won a batting champion.
Oh, yeah.
He's great. So I want to go for him. If we don't get him, any other option we get, I think to me, it's a downgrade for sure.
You know, I agree with you with Luis Arraez. The only thing, I just don't think the Yankees have enough to trade for him. I don't think that, like, it also depends. Like, clearly we're seeing that MLB clubs do not value good contact hitters and stuff like that, clearly. I mean, with LeMahieu only getting 16 or 15 million and now Benintendi getting 15 or 16 million.
The stats of the playoffs, home runs.
Exactly. So it's getting a little frustrating. You know, it's too, I think there's too much numbers and analytics. And I see all these kids on Twitter going, oh, but his WRXXZ plus 5 is 700. That's 10 times better than, like, what does that mean to me? Like, what is he going to do when I need him to get a hit, strike out? Like, no, I can't have that. You know, like it's the Joey Gallos of the world. Like, you see them, they think they have these great stats because there's all it is extra stats to make the player look good. They don't do anything. It's just extra stats to make a bad player seem good and a good player who maybe doesn't hit the home runs but hits 300, but because his home runs are a little bit less, it takes that down. That's all those extra stats do. That's why it's very frustrating when you have all this. And some of them are good, but for a majority of part, there's still the basic RBI, hits, average, home runs, maybe stolen
OPS,
bases
because you get walks.
OPS too. There's still those, like, and slugging too. But outside of that, like, those are the generic stats. Like, I don't care what his OPS plus 500 is. You know, like I don't care about that. Like that doesn't win. They may look at if you realistically look at it, the Rays, the Athletics, they thrive off of that. They don't. The Rays have a great system. They make the playoffs every year. They're competitive. They don't win the World Series. At the end of the day, who wins the World Series? The team that has the best players, the team that spends the most money, and the team that the players aren't there to be, oh, well, maybe he can do it. Maybe because of this extra stat, he can be that guy. They're not. It's the best players that play for those teams.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, with Luis Arraez, I mean, would you ever consider hypothetically involving, I don't know if I don't think they would want Gleyber Torres.
I would do Gleyber.
I was gonna say, what would be your trade package kind of ideally? Like, who would you be willing to give up for him?
I mean, the issue is that they want a frontline starter, and I don't think we have the frontline starter. The only thing that I could see is I don't think it would happen, but including Montas in a deal could. But I think the Yankees like him more. Like I think they know more than obviously the fans do of like a shoulder injury and stuff like that. Obviously, he got traded here midseason with an injury and a whole bunch of things that happened. So you can't really like, it's kind of like as much as it stinks because like we really did need him. I mean, actually we didn't need him. We needed a bat. As much as we really could have used him. Obviously the shoulder and stuff was interesting. So I'm definitely excited to see him for a full season. I think he's gonna be like
decent starts.
Yeah, he's had good starts before and stuff like that. He's proven he could be an elite pitcher, and he's going to be our 5-starter. So the pressure's not going to be outstanding. Well, and also I think he could get back to like a mid-3 ERA anyway. Yeah. At worst, get back to a mid-3 ERA. He really could be an elite pitcher. But I think a trade you'd have to include Glaber, could give him some type of offense too. I did like you're right. I mean, the thing with Luis Gil is that he's coming off of Tommy John. I don't think they would be interested. I would too. I mean, I think you would have to include Domingo. I don't see a trade that wouldn't. No, yeah. I think you'd have to include Domingo. You might have to include Clark Schmidt, and you might have to. Yeah. I'd say probably Glaber and a couple pitchers. But the only thing is, the Yankees don't really have that like top prospect pitcher, and not that we would give up a top prospect, but I don't think like anybody in our farm system right now is that high on the radar where it's like, oh, we could like trade this guy, maybe get it to work. Plus, you don't know where the Rays are looking. I mean, not the Rays. We don't know what the Twins' outlook is. To be honest with you, their team is constructed very weird. They're not in a win. They don't have enough to win right now. They are not even close to being able to win right now. So if that was the case, you could do maybe more prospect base plus Gleyber Torres, and stuff like that. If not, if they want more MLB ready talent, I don't know if the Yankees have the MLB ready talent.
I'll give you one. He's not. I don't know if he's MLB ready, but I think he's supposed to be coming up 2023, 2024. I see no vision of Everson Pereira being in this team, possibly unless he really performs in AAA, and then Harrison Bader just leaves us, and then eventually you have Dominguez with him. My thing with him is that you have Judge. Eventually Dominguez is going to come up. Spencer Jones one day will come up. You get an outfielder, hopefully Bader. Maybe if he performs, he stays. You have too many kind of potential infielders in the outfielders in the future, and I think if you give up one of the, I think he's a top 10 prospect in our rankings. You give him up, Smith, Gill, Debbie, Clarkson. I'll give up any. And it's funny, like you said, we don't really have that much minor league pitching because we gave them up a whole bunch of them last year in trades, whether it was JP Sears, Hayden Wisniewski, I forgot the other one. It was like 3, but we don't have much of those. So obviously with the next question, kind of still with that, what potential trades do you see possibly coming up in the horizon, whether it's for a specific position or a specific player, kind of?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think you have to keep an eye on definitely a lot of the 40-man like guys like I think Florial is still on our 40-man. I could definitely see him getting traded. So like I don't know. Yeah, no, it's got to be the guys that don't have a lot of options left or have a few options left to do a trade. The thing is, I just don't know what a trade looks like right now for the Yankees. I mean, I'm sure they're trying to cook something up right now, but I can't really see anything happening. I mean, I would love Luis Arraez. I just don't think the Yankees have enough to get him and stuff like that. Yeah,
but I want him.
Yeah, I just don't think the Yankees would have enough to go after him. If they could figure it out, that'd be great. But I just don't know what they look like. But I mean, a trade's going to be coming soon. Like we said, there's too many guys unless they just start cutting people straight up. But yeah. But I mean, we'll definitely be able to see very soon what a trade looks like. It has to be within like a week or 2 weeks at most around. Because when you really think about it, they got to get these guys on the roster. They have to, I know they're in agreement, but you still have to get them on the roster, get them ready, make sure they're all good to go. So it'll be interesting to see.
I think with a lot of the trade rumors, I've actually been hearing, I think it was the last 2 days about IKF. They're saying they're really trying to shop him.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind keeping him as like a utility guy. I mean, if you trade him, that's fine, but it's not. I would rather focus on, again, trading someone like a Josh or Hicks, which I don't think you're going to, but I would rather them go before IKF. Now, if they go and then you could figure out IKF and Torres, fine, go do that. But I would love to get rid of them first. I think Florial is going to be gone because he has no more options. I saw a video on that yesterday. It said he's either going to be on the bench of our team or cut, DFA, trade, whatever it is, but he's not going to be in the minors no more. He has no options. So I think he'll be gone. And then we have a lot of like, whether it's Herman, Clark Smith and them, like I think hopefully they could figure something out with that. And I think my last thing I was going to mention about the trades, do you think we either sign or trade for a left fielder? Because that's the next target, 100%, a left fielder.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because I don't really know what the left fielder. I don't know the outfield market that well right now. I think the outfield market's weak. I think it's very weak. So I don't see what happens here. I think it depends on what trades they could put. I don't think Reynolds is happening. I mean, I hope that doesn't happen anyway.
No,
It's a
I
massive
hope not.
overpay. So I'm already eliminating him out of the equation. I don't think Reynolds is happening. I will have no faith in this team if they go sign Max Kepler. Or go
Yep.
trade for Max
Yep.
Kepler.
I agree.
I will already say that right now that they could still win the division. They could still, have win 90 to 100 games.
Maybe get
But
out the first round.
they won't.
But
Yeah,
after that,
they won't win. They won't win when it actually matters. I don't think that would happen. The only two guys I wouldn't mind if they signed to 1-year deals would be Conforto or Brantley over trading for someone. Would be those two guys. I really don't know. I've heard a lot about the Diamondbacks, but I'm not really sure what their prospects entail. And I also know that there's a lot of clubs that want one of their outfield, a lot of clubs that want at least one guy from their outfield, and them including the Dodgers and the Astros, who have better farm systems than we do and more talent to trade. So I'm not really 100% sure. I don't really see there's no clear vision to me in left field right now. I think they went cheap with that option. I think they should have gone with the 5th year and just done, did the job. I mean, it's $15 million. $15 million it seems like a lot. It's nothing now. Brendan Nimmo got $20 million a year. That's nothing. Like 15 million is going to be like chump
definitely
change.
better than Nimmo.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm getting a little frustrated now with the Yankees and stuff. I get that they're spending money. It was great to get Rondon, but at the end of the day, you're still the same offensive team that you were last year. Because at what point this seat, where look at DJ LeMahieu. Each year we're like, oh, he wasn't there for the playoffs, but at least it's been the last 2 years that he's worn down in October. I'm gonna bank on him wearing down in October again this year, not having him for the playoffs when it matters. I mean, you just have to like when you look at the Yankees, they haven't improved in any way, shape, or form offensively, which was our weakest point and still is our weakest point.
Yeah, you only improved in the pitching, which obviously you can never have enough pitching, of course. But now I don't think we seriously don't have to worry about pitching next year. And then our pen is pretty good. I keep hearing about forget his name. He's a free agent, Jake. He's a reliever or. There's one reliever. He might be from the Tigers. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about. I can't remember his name.
I don't.
Well, someone I'll probably send you him later. But they were saying, "Oh, what if we get him?" And I was like, I mean, we have a lot, so you'd have to do a lot of moves. So before I even get to, I still have one question. Do you? I know you've been obviously hearing there's a bigger move than Rendon. Do you still believe in that?
No, I don't believe in it.
And if hypothetically it's true, what would be the player? I don't know.
If we're saying hypothetically it's true, I don't know. I don't believe in the Yankees making any big move now. The thing with the Yankees, they don't have the talent to make that big move trade. I mean, they do, but they're not going to. I think that's a better way to phrase it. Like they can trade a Volpe or a Peraza, but they're not going to.
Hypothetically, like I can't think of what would that big player be other than a Shohei, which again you're not getting. But like who else? I don't know.
I mean, it's really tough to say. I mean, there's no Soto, there's no Soto type player out there that I think in left field. If the Brewers were to sell, I would love for the Yankees to get Yelich.
I've heard about
I would love for the Yankees to get Yelich. I don't think the Brewers are going to sell yet. I think I know he still has a couple more years on his contract anyway. I don't think the Brewers are going to sell yet. I think they're going to try. But I mean, if you're by mid-season and he's still kind of, they're still not doing well, it'd be interesting to see where that could go.
They're kind of under 260 average in the last few years.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 seasons where
he hasn't been as good since his MVP season, but he's a guy where where it's different from Reynolds. He's proven to have had good seasons before, like multiple good seasons, especially in non-juice ball era. So he's definitely played well. I mean, I think he would be a nice piece in the Yankees. I mean, obviously any player in the Yankees lineup is probably going to be a little bit better because you're in a better lineup. But at the end of the day, he's proven to at least have. I mean, it's not like the Brewers were that much of an offensive juggernaut when they went to those World Series. Like he was, or the playoffs, or the NLCS. Like he was that guy for them. Like Brian Reynolds is on a bad team and just doesn't do much anyway. But a Yelich would be interesting to see. Other than that, I don't really see when you really look at the dynamics of the teams. I'm not really seeing any team that has a stud that we like when I'm looking at the bad teams, like the Rockies don't have anybody that's going to be able to you can prospects for this guy type of move. There's no Arenado or Story like they had. Obviously nobody from the AL East is going to trade with us. I don't think the NL East would trade. I don't think the Marlins have anybody good enough, to go after. The Mets wouldn't. Yeah. The Nationals don't either. Yeah.
On a run,
the Indians are good right now, or the Guardians are going to be coming up. They're going to be fine. Detroit, I don't think Detroit has anything really to offer. Minnesota is really the only team that I would see something offering there. Royals, no. So like when you really look at a lot of the teams, there's not a lot of honestly, I think there's a very big gap with the outfielders in positions right now. I think oh
Bless you.
thank you. Yeah, I think there's a huge gap right now between outfielders. I think the outfielders in the MLB right now are either really, really, really good or they're really, really, really bad. There's really no in between right now. And maybe one of the guys that was in between, we just let go to Chicago.
Yeah, I was gonna say some of the people that are in between are either
Yeah.
just like a Nimmo just got signed, or some of them are on big teams that you're not gonna get rid of them.
Yeah.
And just wanted to mention something earlier about you were saying you don't like the extra stats, which I don't either. A lot of fans love to look at. I don't know if you ever seen Baseball Savant.
Yeah,
where they love to see that everything is red. Like a Soto, he has everything red, but he's hitting under 260. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but I'm just saying little stuff like that. Don't look at that. Look at the numbers that we listed, obviously. And I wanted to get your thoughts on obviously one of the last, well, still one more, but one of the last big free agents that got off the board, Carlos Correa going to the Giants. What were your thoughts on that for the team? And
I think the move makes the most sense. I think Correa, again, I don't know if I said this to you or I said this to my dad or somebody. The issue with Carlos Correa is he's a great player and like a really, really good player. And he's only 28 years old. He hits well, plays great defense, good leader. The issue with him is because of his cheating scandal, he pissed off the teams that could afford him. Mm-hmm. The Dodgers and the Yankees, the two teams that need shortstops, are looking for shortstops. But based off of, the Yankees fans are a little bit more open to getting him than I think Dodgers fans were. But at the end of the day, those fan bases are still we're still pissed off at what they did. So it's kind of, he put himself in a really, really bad spot where it was like the two teams that, and he would want to, I think he'd definitely have a lot of interest in playing in New York and playing in LA with the Dodgers. But like I said, those two,
100%. He lost millions because of that.
Yeah. That whole cheating scandal. And he was the only one that really got hurt by it because Bregman had already re-signed with the Astros. Altuve had already been re-signed with the Astros. So those guys really did. And Springer, by the time Springer was out, there was a lot of teams that needed good outfielders, so he was fine. But like he entered in a market where there were a lot of good shortstops, and the two teams that were also interested in getting him, he hurt them the most with that free agency. I think it's a good move though for the Giants. The team's still really, really bad. They still have a really trash lineup, but and their pitching's So I think
it doesn't move the needle for them.
It doesn't move the needle for them, but it sets them up in a direction where now you have your cornerstone, you have your franchise player now in Carlos Correa. So within the next 2 to 3 years, you build up that farm again. And again, the Giants are a team that has money, like maybe not Yankees and Dodgers types of money, but they could put together a formidable payroll and formidable force. They've done it in the past. So once they find the guys that they like, they'll be able to put it. But that was a key. You got one. They've missed that. With the Giants, they've missed out on Stanton. They missed out on Harper. They missed out on Judge. Those are big name players that it was just they were missing something, whether that be another star player there with them or another lineup. You have the one star player there now. So now when you're pitching and marketing, you'd be okay. So we have Correa. We have, like Logan Webb. We have a good pitcher. Now you could start mixing and matching. I just think this free agency was a little tough for them because they were going after Judge really hard. But I also think it helped them and hurt them. Obviously, going for Judge, you have to go for Judge, but it also didn't allow them to make other moves in between and stuff like that. Obviously, they did get Mitch Haniger. I'm not super high on him, but I think he's a nice piece to help a lineup out. But it's not going to be anything crazy, especially for them. But they have you have your franchise shortstop. They do have a young catcher. I don't know Joey Bart if he was a higher prospect. We'll have to see more about him. But other than that, they're a very old team because they never gave up on their guys from those World Series. Brandon Crawford's still there. Brendan Belt was still there. They still have the old. They still have their old players that I don't know. They had that magical run. I think that's just more because their pitching went magical in 2021. But yeah, the Giants are still probably a year or two away from really doing some damage potentially, depending on the moves that they're able to make.
Yeah, I think it was an okay signing. I just love that we're playing them opening day because people kept saying
it's funny.
People kept saying Judge is gonna play in the Bronx one way or another opening day, whether it's in the Giants uniform, Yankees. Carlos Rodon was a Giant ace, and now he's with us. And then Carlos Correa, the cheater for Houston, went to them. So it's gonna be a great opening opening week matchup. I love that. And the final baseball question I'm going to mention before we switch to Iona men's basketball is the last free agent left that's kind of big. In my opinion, I think it's only Dansby Swanson.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on him? Obviously, he hasn't been signed. Is there a team you think that he might sign with, or what are your thoughts on that?
I'm just shocked with him right now because I obviously I still think Turner was the best shortstop available, and Correa was like the second. Who else signed there? Was it there 4 shortstops? And Bogarts.
It was, yeah.
I do like Bogarts a lot, and now it's easier to root for him outside. But I think Dansby's the better player than Bogarts. I mean, to be like just from seeing what Dansby did, he's a World Series champion. I mean, so is Bogart. All of them are actually all of them are World Series championships.
He's been a winning player since.
But he's been a winning player. He's a great person to lead your franchise too. You never hear him doing anything wrong. It's very private life. Stuff like that. He's a great hitter, good fielder. I am shocked that he is still available. I get that there's not a huge shortstop, I guess, market left when you really think about it. I mean, if the Yankees were to make a trade and something like that, where they had to give up a Peraza and a Volpe, I would love for them to get a Dansby Swanson. I mean, he would just fit that shortstop role so well. He hits good pitching. I mean, I saw, only because I was praying for their downfall with the Mets. I saw when the Mets and Braves played each other in Atlanta, Dansby was taking Scherzer deep, DeGrom deep in crucial moments of the game. I mean, he is a good hitter, a good player, a good fielder, a winning player. I mean, whatever team gets him is going to be super lucky to have gotten him, probably at a discount because it's so late in the game, and a really good player on top of that.
So I got a few things to say about him. One, I keep hearing, I haven't watched him too much, but I keep hearing that the concern or reason why some teams are hesitant is because his arm, supposedly, they said they don't think he's going to last as much, whether it's shortstop or if he ever moves position, because his arm, I'm not sure why. I guess he's a good fielder, I'm hearing now, but eventually when he gets older, it's not going to be as good. So that's one. And two, all today and a little bit yesterday, but even before, I was just going on Twitter because I love to just check the baseball stuff. I just keep hearing Dansby Swanson, New York ? Dansby Swanson. I'm like,
yeah, I saw there's like a whole hour thing. Yeah, it was like out of nothing. Yeah,
out of nowhere, and I was like, I was double checking, is this true or are they just making it up? Obviously, it's being made up, but I think that's kind of interesting if you go for him. Again, the only way I'd say go for him is if you trade a Volpe and Peraza for one of those big moves, something again like a Shohei kind of move. But the only team, and it's funny, I keep hearing, I don't think he's gonna be a $300 million price and be over 200.
Yeah,
like you said, a discount. The only team I could think of is two teams: the Dodgers trying to get him because obviously they lost out with Turner, they lost Seager a few years, 2 years ago, a year ago. They were trying to go for Correa, they didn't get him, so maybe they want to get him as a shortstop. And some people just keep saying the Cubs, not sure why, but that was another team. So I think once he's done, once he's signed, everyone else is kind of not as important.
It'll be like little moves and stuff like that.
Again, the Matt Carpenters of the world, we'll see what happens with him. A lot of the small deals, but he's the last big move left. And then I think a lot of trades should come, or there's going to be trades between that. So, of course, now switching over to basketball with one of the final topics. So they played St. Bonaventure on Sundays, Barclays. I went to that game to work it, and then we played Princeton on Tuesday, which I also worked that game. I'm not sure if you were able to watch either or both, but if you were, kind of what were thoughts on now us being 7-2 with those two?
Yeah, I was at the Barclays game. I don't know, they were good wins. The issue I thought with the St. Bonaventure game was the guards didn't give the ball to Nelly enough. Because St. Bonaventure was I thought, I know we have really good guards, but I thought that was a game where those guards were also just as good, or at least as competitive or play at a competitive level with our guards. Maybe they're not better, but they definitely were ready to play with us. So I just thought that the St. Bonaventure, they were just I don't know basketball that well, but just what I was seeing, anytime we set the pick and roll up top, both guys blitzed the guard and Nelly would just roll and he would be open for 2 seconds, or longer than that, but open enough to get the ball and go up. And I think when we started doing it in the second half, you saw I finished with 24 points. I mean, he dominated that game. I mean, I thought, I think it was St. Bonaventure, I thought our energy wasn't there. And that was a game that I was concerned about because was that the game after St. Louis?
I think it might have been, actually.
Yeah, so I was telling my dad I was concerned because if you look at last year's team, they beat a really good Alabama team, and all of a sudden the energy and the drive was not, they just thought it was going to be handed to us because we beat Alabama.
Yeah, we were 6-0.
Yeah. So I was hoping that they didn't get a little too confident. I thought they were a little too confident early on, and then when St. Bonaventure, again, not a bad team, a good A10 team, kept applying the pressure and stuff like that. So I definitely think our team needs to come out with a little bit more intensity sometimes. I think that I think our talent level is there with this basketball team and everything that you need skill wise and tangibles, everything is there. But sometimes I think that they just get a little lackadaisical. The intensity is not there. I think once you saw Simon Benaventure when they took that lead, started to talk a little bit more crap and stuff like that, and then that's all of a sudden when you saw like like the players like all of a sudden, then they kicked it into a high gear. Like, but you can't let that happen. You can't let the players talk crap to you and then you turn into high. You need to be in a high gear from minute 0, because if they're not in a high gear this Sunday, tomorrow, from minute 0 to minute 40, they're losing this game. Like there's no way they win this game if they don't come out with some type of intensity. You're going into a hostile crowd that is going to do everything in its possible way. I mean, this team is undefeated out. This is like playing Iona at home, right? Or not really. It's just better than playing Iona at home. But this is like that type of thing where Iona plays well at home. This is their version of, they're going into a better atmosphere than any team will come in here. So I think it's going to be really tough, but I definitely like the, St. Bonaventure. They did end up winning by 15. They definitely put the nail in the coffin at the end of the game. It was really good because the St. Bonaventure crowd was really getting into it for a while, and then Iona went on that run. Princeton was a little concerning. Supposedly they're a younger team. A lot of their guards were freshmen and stuff like that were really, really playing well. That big man, we could not stop that big man. He was just having some of the dunks he had, he was just having his way down there. But I think at the end of the game, they pulled through. That they did the stuff that they needed to do to win the game. Obviously, Princeton did miss a lot of free throws. I think if they made even like a couple more free throws, they probably win that game. But I mean, I think for the most part, we did the little stuff. At the end of the game, we did the stuff to win the game. I don't think it was a clean game at all. But I think at the end we did this stuff. I mean, the guards, I think the guards have been good. I think the last 2 games are a little shakier than what we've seen or got accustomed to, but I think it was a good job by like the big man and even Cruz. You got to give credit to Cruz out there. He played a really couple big minutes for the team in that Princeton game. I think it had 7 points, and those 7 points, if he misses those shots, it could have gone the other way, and all of a sudden you're losing. So he made some big shots right there, definitely to save the team.
So I'm gonna say a few thoughts on that. The Barclays game was great because obviously I know someone from St. Bonaventure. So for the last 4 years, we've been talking about which team is better, but we never had the chance to play each other. We finally did, and Iona won.
Mm-hmm.
I think obviously that game was great, a great test. And of course, like you said, it was right after the, I'm pretty sure, St. Louis game, which was probably one of our biggest games of the year at the time. And then we came out and we won. We were obviously down at one point. I think it was 54-53. And then, we win by 15. Majority of our games were won obviously by 15, and obviously Princeton wasn't, but I think we're heading in the right direction, of course, with Osborne playing the 4, Nelly. I know DJ and Walt, I think, didn't have a good game versus Barclays, but they both had 20 for Princeton.
Yeah.
Nelly had, I think it was 24 and 10 for Barclays, and of course this is without Quinn and without our freshman Sadiku.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been building the bench up of Cruz. Parker obviously has gotten a lot of minutes.
Some big minutes, some big shots.
Minutes. And then Bub, with Michael Jefferson, we call him Bub. We've built up a lot with that. But I think for obviously Princeton, I was able to watch the first half. Second half I watched on ESPN because I had to do like the food pickup for the whole second half. So I wasn't able to watch too much. But I honestly think from now until the end of the season, looking back at it, our biggest game of the year will not be St. Louis. It will be New Mexico for a few reasons. They're 10-0. They are number 25 in net rating this year. They're the highest net rating team we have or will play this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's the biggest matchup because it's obviously Coach Pitino versus Coach Pitino, obviously father and son. That's a huge matchup.
Yeah.
And we're away. So one of the things that Coach P told us in practice was that they already sold. This is the first sellout game they had in all year and a few years, and they're gonna have 14,000 people there.
Yeah,
not 1,000, 14,000 people there. So he was obviously trying to help us practice with like not being calling plays because we won't be able to hear.
No, yeah.
So that will be a huge game if we somehow win that game. That will probably be the win of I don't know how long. Obviously, they're not ranked like Bama, but the whole storyline is there. Like everything is there, we know. So that's gonna be a huge game, and I'm really excited to see that. But not sure if I'm like kind of allowed to say this or not, but I know that one of the great things for Sunday, hopefully, I'm not 1,000% sure. Recently we had Quinn and Sadiku obviously practice finally, so we're hoping to have them back for Sunday. Of course, we'll see how that works out because I know that Coach P mentioned a couple of times we're going to need everyone on the team, which we will because it will be a very great team. So if we have Quinn and Sadiku, obviously now we finally have a full healthy team, which we wanted all year. And I know that you mentioned, oh, do you think Quinn starts or bench? I think they'll probably. This is not confirmed. This is just me speculating. I think they'll try to ramp him up. Like they'll still start Oz. That's what it's been looking like. We've had him with like Maroon and stuff. So you know how Maroon goes.
Yeah.
So I think they'll build him up for that. Obviously with the injury, same thing with Sadiku. He's looked pretty great recently, and I'm excited to see how they do on Sunday and how the team plays Sunday. But Sunday is a very big test, and I know for probably the next show we'll be on, we'll be very well into the season.
Yeah, by then we'll probably either be going to March Madness or we'll be talking about the biggest disappointment in Iona basketball history.
We never know, because by the time we get back, we'll either be in the tournament, the NCAA tournament, or obviously MAC tournament around the time. So it'll be kind of more recaps on the season, and then baseball will definitely be starting up with spring training and the World Baseball Classic. And obviously, before I close off the show, I just wanted to mention one thing. I don't know if I told you about this. I'm not gonna talk too much about it on the show. But this past Monday, I had a dinner with Coach P. Not sure if
I don't think so. Yeah, you didn't tell me.
So I had a dinner with Coach P. It was amazing. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about everything we talked about. It was like a 2-hour dinner. Finally, obviously, got to introduce each other. And the one thing I will say about the dinner, the only thing that I'll obviously reveal about it is that it's not confirmed, but I am hoping, because obviously this was mentioned at dinner, first at some point of next semester's podcast after the season ends, we're hoping to have him as a guest.
That's awesome.
For the show. Obviously, I mentioned it. Yeah. And when the season ends, we'll try to get that worked up depending on schedules. So hopefully, if you made it this far, then obviously, you know how I usually do the clips from the show. I won't put this because, you know, if you heard about it, then you obviously watch the end. But I'll probably post right when I confirm if I could get him on the show, if he's free. Then I'll post that as a clip, and then everyone know Coach P will be on the next show. So hopefully,
that's sick, man.
That would be great. And it was great to have you all semester.
Oh, of course, man. It's an honor.
It's going to be tough next semester, at least the first 2 months without you, and then going from there. So appreciate you.
We'll be back, though.
You know, hope you guys have a great holiday as well as you.
Yeah,
hope
have a great holiday season, guys. Yep.
We got one more, so let's go Yanks, man.